Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. We had a false start a little bit earlier, and we're back at it. And so, just going to say I'm at the Sanctuary in the Fledge. I want to give a shout out to MSU and Startup Weekend and the entrepreneurial program they have out there. It truly does make our region stronger in the startup space and bringing in funding and stuff like that. So, a lot of appreciation to MSU's contribution to the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Now, today, I said this earlier, so I feel like I practice, but I don't really need to practice this. We've got someone from the One and All program, so I'm going to also give a shout out to LEAP right now for getting the funding, doing everything necessary to make One and All, but also designing One and All to help people start businesses that otherwise might not be in a position to have the resources or the funding or the connections and all of that they need. So a really great program, One and All. And you might ask me why I'm talking about it. And that's because my great friend, Anna, is a One and All cohort member. How you doing, Anna?
I am great now that my phone is not overheated and I can see you.
I'm really excited about the fact that we recorded 9 minutes, because it's gonna we're putting this all together as a collection. So there's a website called everydamndayshow.com that all of these will be broadcasts on, or will be posted on. And then as I follow your career and stuff like that, I'll do updates to it, and we're doing some automated things. But we're also making it into an NFT, if you've heard that in the news lately. And It's basically a way that we can make a trading card for each episode, and then we can sell them for a cryptocurrency. And there's a smart contract in there that every time they sell, you and I get paid for it. And we're
That is so cool.
Yeah. So yours is going to be real rare, because it's got a false start, because we've had complete technical problems that just messed up everything. But with you, your phone just kept shutting off. And I just think it's going to be really unique to have that. And it's going to be an NFT that could be rare. But we need there was a guy who wants to be president of the United States. He needs to be president for the NFTs to really, the whole collection will get valuable then. And then you're going to be a billionaire, and that's going to bring the pace up. Or I don't think you'd be a billionaire. You're too kind and compassionate.
I think I'd end up donating a whole lot.
Yeah. So now that I rambled on about all that for too long, probably, let's start over with you telling us about you, like where you were born and raised, where you went to school, all of that.
All right. Well, born here in Lansing. I left for a year. Thought I was going to go to the military until my mom told me she didn't want me to go. School-wise, I went to North Elementary School, not Rio. I said it earlier.
Well, you said Kendon earlier. I picked up on that one.
Yep, I went to Kendon North, and then there's the one, Riddle. I went to Riddle. Yep, for elementary. And then middle school, I went to Gardner and Walter French. And then Everett for high school. That's where I graduated from.
Yeah. And I went to
Harry Hill in there too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When Harry Hill was still a high school, or when it was vocational?
Vocational. I was in the culinary.
Oh, nice. Are you still a good cook?
I think so. That's what I went to college for a little bit.
Wow.
I don't know how it branched from food to what I do now.
So what'd you do in between like the food and what you do now?
I drove school buses. Yep. I drove school buses for 9 years. My bus was known as the rock and roll school bus. I had a lot of fun when I drove school buses. Like, I remembered all my kids' names. I got them gifts for their birthdays, Christmas, all of that stuff. Like, we had so much fun on my buses. We had rap battles.
Yeah.
And whoever lost would have to make the opponent a crown. Well, I won. So the kid, I can't say his name, but he had to make me a crown. And so I told him I wanted it gold with purple glitter.
I wish I had my Biggie shirt on. He's wearing a crown in it.
See?
Yeah. So, well, this is taking me on a tangent, but I want to talk about being a school bus driver, because I think the stigma or the stereotype for that would be like a mean old person. And I don't
No,
think that's what you're talking about.
no, I drove for special needs for 6 years. So with that, I would have kids, or well, I drove adults and kids. And I would have students that when they get on the bus, I'd grab their hands and we dance to their seat. And um, I'd have clients that would scream all the time unless they had certain things in their seat. So I'd make sure that I had a billion Avon books in this person's seat, because if they had the Avon book, they would just squeal every time they turned to a new page. So I could, because of the compassionate person that I am, I would notice things like that. Like one had a stuffed animal that he would chew on in his seat, and that would keep him okay for the whole bus
Mhm.
ride. You know,
Yeah.
I had
Well,
fun.
I bet you there's a lot of teachers that appreciate that, because really the bus driver, if a kid rides a bus to school, that bus driver can set the tone for the day, right? And if you're yelling at the kids the whole way there, that's not a good start for, you know.
No, I had kids that didn't ride my bus when I drove for the other school that I drove for, and they would come get on my bus after I would get to the school and be like, Miss Anna, can I clean your bus so I can talk to you? Be like, you want to come clean my bus? Well, go ahead.
So you were getting two things at once.
And they would just talk to me just about just life, you know.
Yeah. So so let's talk about your projects now, right? Um, like, tell us what your company is, what you do besides your company, maybe about the One and All program.
We'll start with that, because that's just, I didn't even know I was getting in. And then there's an email and it's like, because I applied way back, in January.
Yeah.
So I'm learning so much. And then I look at things now that even with the in the third week, when somebody comes up with an idea, I'm like, no, that's not right. Hold on. Let me go back to my notes real quick so I can see what you're talking about. Um, it's just, and when we have, our meetings and stuff, and I'm able to talk to these other people that are doing things and hearing them, there's like no competition, there's no animosity. It's all positive people coming together with ideas like, hey, why don't you try this? And I just love that neighborhood kind of atmosphere that we are growing. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I think you guys are so amazing. I mean, you're starting to gel already. We're playing around with this team thing. We never did that before, and I kind of like that. Do you like that?
Oh my gosh, yes. I don't know how it was before, but when I got into, like, I had a fangirl moment. I'm not even gonna lie. When I got into my group and I seen who my cohorts were in my group, I squealed. Like I was like, I've been following your guys' career like forever. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that is, to even be in the same room as the people that are in my group is just like, I'm starstruck. But to be able to talk to them, so not even just be in the room, but to talk to them, and I've been following their careers. It's like, oh my gosh, you are so amazing. I just want you to know that.
I think that probably it's a two-way street too. I bet you there's people in there that you're saying that about that are probably saying something similar about you
That would
or
be
about your
amazing.
idea, because you're still pretty young in your journey, right?
Yeah. Well, I've been making crafts and stuff forever. I have 3 kids, and every time I would get pregnant, I would start a new craft. So I know how to quilt, I know how to crochet. I used to make their costumes. I mean, centerpieces, everything. So we've been doing this. Well, me myself has been doing this for since I was 15 years old and selling my products, periodically. This is just the first year that we've gone like full scale. We're doing this. And it all started because my daughter drew a picture of me.
Yeah.
Like my logo for our company is my daughter's drawing of me. And I was like, oh. So at that point, I decided I was going to buy everything I needed to put her drawings on whatever I wanted. And I wouldn't have to give other companies money to do it for me. And
Yeah.
it's just turned into so much more than I could have ever imagined.
So tell us like what kind of products you have and how it's going, where you sell them. You got any pop-ups or anything going on?
We have the June 5th pop-up that I'm co-hosting with Butterfly High, and that's on MLK at the Old Max 10. And then I just partnered up with the Resin Spot, and we have made a company called Our Tribe Vendors. And we're going to be doing pop-ups in the Westwood Mall in Jackson every weekend till the end of December. And that's an opportunity for other vendors to come out and sell their products for a low fee in a comfortable and inviting environment. And we got that idea because there's so many, when you go onto the event sites, there's so many scammers out there. And it's hard when you want to do pop-ups and stuff like that because you don't know who's for real. So we wanted to give them an inviting environment to where you can come and sell your product with no competition, because once you sign on, we don't bring anybody else on that sells your product.
Okay.
That way, that weekend, that's your spotlight weekend, you know? And I just, even with my company, I want to empower people. You know, when I go to events, because we do pop-ups all over, we're going to be in Atlanta, July 10th and 11th. And I go to all the booths, I talk to them, I look at their work, I tell them what I like about it, I compliment them as a person, I tell them how amazing they are that they created this. You know, I feel that we as people should build other people up and not tear them down.
Yeah.
But I've raised my kids to do that also, because my 6-year-old will compliment somebody at the drive-thru, like, Mom, can you tell her hair is cute? But that's just, I feel that our world is a very sad place right now. And if I can make one person smile, just one, I did something good for my day.
Yeah. It always amazes me why it seems like people want to be surrounded by people that they tore down. And why would you want that? I want to be in the best room I can be in. I want to be with the smartest people, the toughest people. I want everybody around me pushing me. You reminded me of this. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it says, "The beauty of the deer is in the strength of the wolf." And though the wolf will chase them and eat them, that act of chasing them and chasing so many of them makes them stronger and more beautiful. And we need that. We need to be around strong things. And I don't mean to be gruesome in the slaughtering of a deer or anything, but I want to be surrounded by strong people who are happy and healthy and thriving.
And positive. Like, if you're surrounded by negative environment and people that are just mad all the time, it just, like, I feel like it weighs on you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't leave. Even when you go home, it's still there. And I don't want that energy.
Right. So, go ahead, please.
You had asked what products we sold.
Yeah, that's what I was going
to. Great minds, Jerry. Well, our main seller is our custom rolling trays. That was, I don't even know how we ended up making those, to be honest, but we sell rolling tray sets. So you can get the set, which comes with the tray, stash jar, pre-roll container, lighter, blunt slicer, and a scoop card. And my nifty idea was, on the back of all the scoop cards, our information's on there. So whenever they smoke and think of weed, they'll think of me. But we also do custom t-shirts, masks, drinking sets, the drinking sets with the beer mug or with shot glasses. We do car coasters, we do car air fresheners, we do blankets, we do short sets. You dream it, we achieve it.
Do you make everything?
Everything that we sell on the table, there's 3 items on the table that we don't make.
Is it,
Which I learned how to make them, so it's not going to last for long.
is air fresheners one of them?
Nope, we make them.
Oh, you make those.
Yep,
How do
we
you?
buy the air freshener piece. We put an image on it so you can customize it. So if you want your face on your air freshener, we can do that. And then you tell us what scent you want in your air freshener, and we'll put the scent in it for you.
Oh, that's awesome. What are the 3 things you're not making so far? Or
It's
that?
the no, I only have 3 of them on my table.
Oh,
It's the rolling tray that has the metal lid to it.
oh, okay.
And I ordered those, but I figured out how to make them. So
So
now I can make them for all my trays.
that's awesome.
I'm always
So
trying to learn.
if well, first of all, how's it going? Do you have a lot of
Good.
customers?
Yes.
And is it at the pop-ups that you're most successful, or tell us about that if you don't mind a little bit. Brag a little bit.
Well, we've done pop-ups all over Michigan so far. Well, in 4 cities. We do Jackson, Grand Rapids, Detroit, and then Lansing. And as I said earlier, we're going to be going to Atlanta July 10th and 11th. The pop-ups we do really well.
Hey,
That's
if you run into Killer Mike in Atlanta, will you tell him I want to talk to him?
yes. If I run into him, I will
Okay.
let him know.
Sorry.
You're good. At the pop-ups, in all actual honesty, that's where we've gotten a lot of our clients from, is they've met us at the pop-up, and then later on they're like, hey, I remember meeting you, but I know that the way my kids and I talk to them and how our personalities are when we're dealing with our customers, it's what catches their mind. Because when they walk by or they look, I'm like, hi, my name is Anna from Better Than Yours Designs. Everything you see on the table was made by me and my kids. We started because my daughter drew a picture of me. And that stops them right there, because it's my daughter drew the picture, And my daughter actually was approached by an author that wants her to draw for her young adult book.
So like an illustrator now. All right. Do you mind if, well, let me talk about your daughter for just a second. Does she consider herself an entrepreneur? Is she an entrepreneur, or does she look at herself as an artist and doesn't want to? And how old is she, if you don't mind? Because if I'm asking a 5-year-old that question,
No.
it'd be different than.
Right. No, she's 15. She looks at herself as she's already sold logos. So she's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
She's designed 3 logos now. She's working on her 4th. And she's amazing. Like, her talent, and she's not the only artist. My boyfriend's an artist too, but his is more graphic. Hers is anime. So it's like I got both sides if I want something customized. But she, the drawing that's our logo, she actually didn't like it. She was mad that I picked that one for the logo.
Oh, of course.
Because she's like, no, I can see so much wrong with it. And I was like, no, I'm chubby and cute at the same time. That's mine.
Do you, so the information like you're learning in One and All, are you passing that on to her too, so that does she watch any of the videos or anything?
She hasn't watched them yet. I do want her to, but my job that I had right before I start, like, we went hard with all of this. I worked in a payment processing department. So I learned a lot of spreadsheets and how to keep track and formulas and all of that. So when I say that everything is done by me and my family, that's literal. My kids know how to put the receipts in the system. They know how to track our inventory. They know how to track how many, pop-up shops we've been to, how to total it out. I've taught my kids everything that I know. And I've explained to them, you guys have a foot ahead of a lot of children right now, because when you go out into the workforce, you already have customer service, cash handling, data entry. You're skilled.
That's right.
Everything is done by all of us. And that's what I love about this. My boyfriend helps. He goes to me with me to the pop-ups out of town, like, we all just, and don't get me wrong, sometimes it's really hard.
Oh yeah, I bet it's stressful, and there's probably a little tension between y'all once in a while.
Yeah, especially right before a pop-up. Like
Uh,
right before a pop-up, the day before, I don't usually sleep because it's like everything's going through my head. Okay, do we have enough trays? Do we have enough this? Do we have enough this? What if we sell all of this? And my boyfriend has to come up like, Anna, if we sell it all, that's a good thing. And I'm like, no, because what if somebody else comes up and they want it and now it's gone? So like
yeah.
I drive myself insane the day before an event.
Well, besides the fact you drive yourself insane, I bet you that's really healthy for the family, though, to learn how to problem solve together, how to take on challenges together. You get to travel together, or I don't know if your kids are going, but
Yeah,
you
they
know,
go
it's a vacation and a pop up and a
100%.
learning. It's all awesome. That's what I love about entrepreneurship is that, you're solving problems, but the whole time you're usually having fun doing it and you're collecting skills. And if it doesn't work, you can go back in with something else. So,
We we have a lot of memories now. Like
oh,
we have a mannequin that I named Thickiana. And so we have Thickiana, Christiana, and Anna, because that's my daughter's name. And it took us a while to figure out that Thickiana needed a shirt that was just for her and a travel shirt. So when we would travel with her in my small car with all our luggage, she would have to sit in the front seat with one of the kids and they're carrying a naked mannequin. People with no head. So people would look at us all crazy when we're driving by. So it's like we have like the canopy almost flew away. So anybody that does pop-ups, things are gonna go wrong. You
yeah.
just gotta keep it pushing.
Hey, would you mind sharing some of that knowledge with us? Like
Yes.
maybe two quick subjects if you can. How do you know a pop-up's a good pop-up? Because there is a lot of predators out there. They're just trying to get the vendors money and nobody's going to show up or whatever. How do you kind of sort that out? And then another thing is, what are some big mistakes you can make when you're doing a pop-up? If you
Um,
don't mind.
no. When I look at a vendor to see if they're a legit person, I go to not only their page, I go to the photos to see, and I know it seems kind of stalkerish, but when they're posting that they're doing an event, you want to know if this is for real. You even
Yeah.
really have a business. Because a lot of the scammers, they just take somebody else's name, make a new page, and then start posting stuff. So if it's, you don't see that they ever had another event, then that's just somebody you don't want to go with. If you don't see, if you ask them to show you proof and they get an attitude, then that's probably not somebody you should go with.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some of the scammers and I go on their page and I look, okay, I only see 3 posts from this. You just posted this event. You're not for real.
So I
Uh,
think that's good advice for kind of fishing out the scammers. How do you know, like with your business? Because I imagine some pop-ups work for you and some don't work for you, and even the ones that don't work for you might be working for someone else. Like, how do you evaluate the pop-ups you're going to go to?
I that's that one's hard. It's like this. You won't know till you go.
Hmm.
But if you go and you realize this isn't your environment or this isn't, you're not making any money at this pop-up, it's not a total loss because that I look at every pop-up as a networking event. I make sure that I go around and I greet the other vendors like, hi, this is what I sell, yada, yada, yada. Get to know them, get to know what they sell because you may not have made any money at this event, but you might make a connection with one of the other vendors and they will let you know when there's a show that is good for you. I just had somebody I met at an event back in March just invite me to another event on June 6th. We didn't make a lot of money at that event, but we met each other and now 3 months later, you thought of me,
Yeah.
so you may not make, there've been events where I only made $15, but I networked, so I made lasting relationships.
Yeah. So, how would you summarize what your mission is? Like, what are you? what do you see the world to be, or what are you fighting for every day?
My family. I I want I worry about my kids growing up in the world we have right now. Because my kids are a lot like me. They're very compassionate, they're very understanding, and it makes it hard for people like that sometimes in the world because there's so many sharks that are ready to just, you know.
Yeah.
So what my mission is, and it's going to sound so cheesy. Oh my gosh, so cheesy. I want to spread sunshine and joy everywhere we go.
That is not cheesy at all to me. I like that a lot. And I like, you know, a lot of times kindness and compassion gets mistaken for weakness, but I bet you're putting that layer of toughness in there,
Oh
and
yeah.
that smarts, like the good advice you just gave about the scammers and all of that, where, yeah, I like it. What's something you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
I compliment somebody every day. Every day. I tell people what I feel about them every day. Because like I said, I feel like even telling somebody that I'm about eyebrows because my eyebrows are microbladed. So if I see somebody with really nice eyebrows, I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, your eyebrows are the bomb.
I
You
gotta
know,
fix my eyebrows. They stick out all over the place.
I can't deal with you, Jerry. But that's what I do because I was in a very bad place for a long time, and you never know what somebody's going through on the outside. You know, you can only see what they show. So inside of them, they might be just having the world's worst day. They might be dying inside, and that one nice thing you said could have changed their whole outlook for that day. So I try to make sure that I am as positive as I can be, regardless to how I feel on the inside, regardless to if I'm hurt, which they always say the people that smile the hardest and laugh the hardest are the ones that are hurting the most. I don't let that hurt that I have or may have affect how I treat everybody else, because I know how it feels to have been down. So I want to make sure that I just lift.
And that sunshine, it always amazes me. You have a mirror and you point the sun at it and it reflects back off, and it seems to, you can even split it into two with different prisms and all of that and into different colors. And it seems so infinite to me. So that sunshine, that compliment that you give to that next person probably gets passed on, or a
That would
little
be
bit
great.
anyway, right?
Right.
So it's so contagious, and it's so symbolic of the abundance we kind of talked about in episode part 10.5. I don't know what we're going to call it. But I just love your mission, not cheesy. So,
Thank you.
yeah. We daisy chain the shows together, and yesterday on the show, we had Gerard, who's he's a I saw him through being a spoken word poet, and I was introduced to him by an old friend of mine. But he's getting his PhD at Eastern Michigan in really studying how to accept people into the university system a lot better than what we do now. So there's a lot of barriers that are put up unless you're a white kid. I'm just going to say it that way. Everything's real comfortable. The music they play, the food that they're serving, all of that. And then the other races seem to cluster into little groups that don't really feel welcome and included in the party. And he's studying that, and he's going to try to fix that. And that's why I love entrepreneurs, is because they make us so much stronger. But so that was long-winded, but he has a question for you. And his question is, in a world where not everybody reflects you or reflects your beliefs, how do you find your identity, and how do you find your intellect? How do you build who you are and what you know? It's a super deep question.
I know, because part one, you said something about it, and I still have played it. And the only thing I can think of is how you find oneself is I found myself through meditation and leaning on my belief system and my mantras and perseverance is how I found myself. Because like I said earlier, I was lost for a very long time.
Yeah.
And as far as finding my intellect, I honestly don't know how to answer that one because I've always been the type of person that would seek it out. If you tell me that this is the answer to the question, well, how did you get there? Like, but what steps did you take? So I always want to know the hows and the whats and the whys, and that could be because I'm nosy. I don't know.
I was going to call it curious, but if you want to call it nosy, but even, bouncing around to people at a pop-up, that's curious, that's inquisition, that's, what am I going to learn from this person? How am I going to be able to help them, and how are they going to be able to help me? I just feel symbiotic relationships must surround you all the time.
Well, so. Everywhere I go, which is crazy to me because I don't know how this happened, but when I travel out of town, usually somebody from somewhere else that I've met ends up coming to the event. Like when I go to Detroit, people from Lansing that I've been to pop-ups with. So now I have people that follow me to different events, which is amazing because I know that means they're trusting my choice in where I go. They feel safe to follow me to an event because they know if I'm going that it's going to be an okay environment, and also there's like women that have like, oh my gosh, companies, and I have been just hustling and doing so much work that call me and they say, girl, what are we doing next? What's going on? And it's like, why are you asking me? I don't know. But it makes me it makes me have to sit back and say, okay, you must be doing it right because you have all these people that are just like, what's going on? What's next?
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to stay on. I have to persevere. I have to fight because I have so many people now that are pushing for our success.
That's right. Every damn day now.
You're right.
So tomorrow on the show, I've got a gentleman named Jeff. He runs a program called Weekend Survival Kits, and it's where he gives out, or his organization gives out food and different things to kids as they go home. Because, a large percentage of our kids, especially in Lansing, over 30% of them live under the poverty level and another 60% under the Ellis threshold. So on weekdays when there was school, they're getting their meals from school. In most cases, 2 meals from school, and he puts together weekend packs for kids to take home. And it's a little different with COVID and all of that, but he still did it. And I also do think that the Lansing School District did a fairly good job last year at keeping the food distribution and being super inclusive and not putting a lot of barriers to scare people away. I do want to applaud them for that. That's rare for me, guys. So take note of it. And what question would you like me to pass to Jeff?
It's the question that I had earlier, I think still stands, especially with what his business is, his mission is. What inspired you to do what you do?
Yeah, I'll ask him because there's always a great story there. Or not always, but sometimes there's a really, I starved every Saturday,
Right. I feel like there's going to be a really touching story there.
Yeah.
Because what would have made you, what triggered you? So, yeah, that's my question. I stand by what I said earlier.
Well, let me, I think that you probably answered this a little bit earlier, but I'm going to dig into it deeper if you did. What inspires you?
My daughter. Like, I love all my kids equally. Like, they all have their different talents. But her artwork, and she's very shy. She's very introverted, and she doesn't show her artwork often. She doesn't speak up much if she's outside the house. And her drawing and putting all her passion into it, I had to. And in all honesty, us starting this business and doing these pop-ups, and I'm probably going to cry when I say this because I can see the difference. But when we started this, my daughter didn't speak to people. Like, you would talk to her and she'd just look at you the whole time. She's went to slumber parties and people thought that she wasn't having fun because she was on the couch in her blanket or in her coat. They're like, I think Christiana's ready to go home. No, she just texted me and said she's having fun. So now she talks to customers, she makes sales, she goes and shows her drawings to other people at the events. Like, she has a lady that every event she goes and shows her drawings, and to see my baby come out of her shell, man, I did something right.
You
by
did
doing
do something
this.
right. Yeah. I love that you're doing this in a family way. I didn't when I built some of my big companies, and I commuted to Dubai for 12 years every 6 weeks, and I have a time lapse of some of that childhood. And if they could have gone with me and been part of my team, I would have been so lucky. So you're super wise for doing that. Super wise.
Well, thank you.
When I talk about the words happiness, sadness, and joy and hope, what do you want to talk about that? Like happiness. What is happiness? Are you happy? Or what gives you hope? Or, where does sadness fit in?
Happiness. That one's hard. Because, like I said, you have that happy exterior, and sometimes inside you're just like, knowing that, it's again cheesy, knowing that my kids are like so proud of everything that we're doing, that fills me with an abundant amount of happiness, to where it's like, okay, we got to keep going. We can't. Because my son will go to my mom's house and be like, we have a business to run. I have to get home. Honey, we could take a break. No, we have pop-up shops this weekend. We need to get home.
You need to TikTok those.
They're on me. Oh, so I turned my notifications off. Sorry.
We still heard you. We didn't hear that.
Okay.
It was just a little lower volume.
Okay.
I love that word proud. It's the double-edged sword, right?
I know.
Because you can be too proud and you're arrogant and all of that. But at the same time, if you're proud of something, it's showing it off. This is what I did. This is what I built. This is where I'm at, or whatever. And it can be super healthy. And I think we swayed way too far by making people not proud, or thinking it's a sin, if you will. And we need to bring that. We need to restore that pride in so much of what we do. You're so wise.
And I appreciate you for saying that, because I don't feel like I am. I feel like with a lot of this, I've flown by the seat of my pants. Like, I'll have an idea and it's like, will this work? I don't know. Let's try. Oh my gosh, it's sold,
But when you write your book, you can tell the story however you want. And then I knew they were going to come out of their shell, so I started a business.
Heck yeah.
That's what everyone else does, I think.
Right. I knew it.
So I'm going to start wrapping up the show a little bit and tell everyone goodbye, and then I'm going to ask you to take us out with something, okay?
Okay.
So there's another episode of Every Damn Day. I've been smiling. It seems like harder than normal because my cheeks feel a little sore. So thank you so very much. I had a lot of fun talking with you. And we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. I know we had a ding ding or something like that with our false start earlier, but It all's going to work out. And thanks for watching another episode of Every Damn Day. And we will see you later. And what would you like to take us out with, Anna?
Don't let whatever goes wrong in your life make you feel sad. You are a goddess. And if you're a man, you are a god and you got this.
There you go. I don't want to improve that.
Well, thank you, Jerry.
See ya. Bye-bye.
See ya.